Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nurturing Astrology podcast. I'm Dominique Caramillo, your astrologer and host. I believe astrology can fast-track personal growth, improve relationships, and empower parents. On this show, I will bring you practical guidance and insight from my own work, studies, and life experiences, as well as interview experts to bring you stellar wisdom from other teachers and professionals to inspire you on your journey. I'm so glad you're here and thanks for tuning in. So sit back, enjoy the show, and be sure to follow, like, and subscribe to catch every new episode as soon as it drops. Your shares and reviews are also much appreciated to help more people benefit from nurturing astrology. Okay, let's dive into today's show. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Nurturing Astrology podcast. I'm Dominique Caramillo, your astrologer and host, and I'm back for my Sagittarius Musings episode. But today, I have a special guest with me, and that is my favorite Sagittarius, Tara Kinden, Celestial Manifester. Welcome, girlfriend.
Thank you, babe. I was like, what a privilege to be called your favorite Sag. Like,
oh my gosh, we just, we have so much fun when we get together. You light up my Jupiter and Sag. And I was thinking about, seriously. And I was like trying to put this together this morning. I was like, you know what? This would be so much more fun, right? We're talking about having fun, right? It'd be so much more fun if I can talk with someone about all the things that are coming, and who better than like a Sag, right? Who's like right in the vibes. You're coming into your season. You are in fuego, and the energies we're moving into now are lightening up and becoming more fun. And so I thought, let me just, let's do this with someone else and have some fun, as opposed to me talking to the ethers, which is not my favorite thing to do.
No, definitely. And I will say, like, we had a good laugh the other day because of Mercury moving into Sag. And when Dom called me, it was like, I was like, whoa, like I need a hot second to just like unpack how quickly
I am talking so fast, but that means I'm getting like all my points across quick.
I'll slow you down if you get too quick.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I talk too fast to begin with.
That's why I was like, I don't even know where to begin with this.
Yeah. So we're going to just have a great conversation. I'm going to not go, too far, and I'll drink my coffee in between. So
it was a good laugh. We had matching mugs, but somebody's husband put it through the dishwasher.
Hey, sunshine and love still works, honey.
Sunshine and love always.
I love it. Okay, so it's not quite Sag season. We're actually recording this just at the closing of Scorpio, but like we said, Mercury and Venus are leading the charge, and are they ever, right? They are already both in Sag, and it's like waking up a sleeping giant or something, right? It's like
I just feel like it's like that brain explosion emoji. Like, I just feel like that's Mercury and Sag. Your brain feels like it's on fire a little bit. So it's like, how do we extinguish just a little bit of it? Because, I don't know about you, but I'm not sleeping at all.
Well, I'm dreaming like crazy, right? And we've got, Jupiter is in Pisces at the last degrees. And so the dreams are just going crazy too, right? And yeah, absolutely. It's a mutable fire sign, right? So it's constantly moving. It's a blaze, right? It's a wildfire. And the thing that we have to do during the season is direct that fire the best we can. And it's so easy to get burnout, spin out, So you want to capitalize on that as much as we can. But the other side of that is remembering we have to breathe, we have to ground, and slow down.
This is why having friends and people like each other, you remind me, go rest. You're working a little bit too hard. You're going to burn yourself out. I'm like, right. And like, slow down. You're talking too fast. I can't keep up. Like, it's really good to have friendships where you can have that honest, like, call you on your thing, help you. I mean, it's for the greater benefit of both of us to evolve and grow when we know more about ourselves and our energy. It's such a beautiful.
Absolutely. And understanding the seasons, that the zodiac is the seasons, right? So this is your season, so you know that you can have a lot of extra energy and really capitalize on that. And then in those other times you can slow down. The seasons, like Pisces or the water, that kind of like put that fire
We
out.
totally
Sometimes
talked about this.
you
Yes.
need to rest,
Yeah.
right?
It resonates so deeply. And it kind of like, until we actually talked about it, it didn't register the same way that it did as yesterday. Like we literally just talked about it yesterday, I believe.
Mhm.
And it was like game changing. It was almost like, like,
Yep.
thanks, Mercury. Like, I got it.
Yep. We just need those reminders, right? So let's dive
Okay.
into Sag season. Now, we know that it officially goes into Sagittarius November 22nd, which is next Tuesday, through December 21st. That'll be the winter solstice. And Sagittarius is expansion. It's Jupiter ruled biggest planet, so it makes everything bigger. Everything feels bigger, everything seems bigger. We want to go bigger. And sometimes we can go off the rails and need to slow our roll.
No idea what that looks like.
Right? But it is still about a time to really expand and have that vision, grow that vision, right? And we've been through such a storm in a way. I had this thought the other day when I was working with one of my students, because we're at the end of this eclipse season, this Scorpio eclipse season that's been really intense. And she's still very much in it. And she could not see her way out, right? And we've been in this, what I was like, I had this vision of like a tornado or like a hurricane, right? So we've been in this hurricane, right? And we've had these horrible bands of weather. And then we've sometimes come to the eye, right? Where it's like, is it over? Is it not over? Like, what's next? We know that those second eclipses are coming, but we're trying to do all this stuff in the middle, a few bands of bad weather. And then that second eclipse season was like the back end of that storm in a way, where we were like, holy crap, are we ever going to get out of this? Are we ever going to move through this? Is there, what is the future look like? It's been so uncertain and so precarious in so many ways. And that I feel like Sagittarius is like, you can see the blue sky peeking through after the storm is passing, of like the promised land and like visions for the future and the possibilities for the future, and feeling hopeful and feeling like we've done some real work in terms of getting confronting things that are really like needing to be worked out or let go, or energy that needs to pass through, letting go of things that aren't working so that we can really make space to fly in new directions. How have you experienced this year and coming into Sagittarius now and the eclipses?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to share. Is that
So
analogy like vibe right? Because it feels
I
like
like to think of Scorpio season as like the swamp, it's like
yes.
swampland. And while, the lotus can grow in the swamp, sometimes it's just so murky and so messy and so filled with
You
leeches
can't
and
see.
snakes and all kinds of creepy things that you're just like, I don't want to deal with that. So I used to always hate November, and I never really understood why. And it's because you're having to face so many elements and parts of yourself that you may just like not want to be dealing with. But this Scorpio season specifically, I could see how big a role Venus was playing, and that I recognized that there was a lot of deep healing and cleansing that could be happening with the divine feminine energy, that I was like, all right, I'm going all in. And I'm going to let it be what it is. And I'm going to embrace all of it. And no matter how funky this feels, I'm going to know that like this too shall pass, and the candle will be lit once I get into Sag season. I'm going to dry off from the swamp, and it's going to feel so much better. Right.
Yeah. And it's taking risks. I mean, you can't see down there. You don't know what you're going to grow, but what is that on, like lotus flowers grow in the mud?
Grow in the mud. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, oh, I just got the chills. So you have to remember that, right? Like you're in there and you in that cocoon, the butterfly cocoon, and it's just so yucky and uncomfortable. And
if you don't do it, like if you don't do the work, if you don't do the clearing, it's going to get you in another season. So it's like, just face the thing that is right there. So it's easier. Like that's the one thing I just said, okay, you know what? I'm going to just embrace this. And I tell you, my life has completely changed since October. Like, October, it was like my little guy went to school in September, but I just knew I needed more space and time, to be in my own energy, but also to be very clear about mindset. Like I feel like the last quarter, the last end of this year, the number one thing we can all be working on, or, if you can't think of anything else, what are you thinking about? Because the more you're thinking about things that are not what you want, it's the truth, like that you
Yes.
calibrate feelings towards it that continues to attract that. So I just want, how can it get better? I
Yeah.
was like, Dr. Evil, like, how can this get better? Like, even though there were times where I was like, I can't see
Mhm.
for the darkness, I'm like, but how could this get better? How can I feel better? How
And
can I
also
love
trusting the
myself more?
process, like trusting the process, that that's the benefit of astrology is, you're in something, you're in a
Yeah.
process, and you know that you're moving through something, and there's a reason for it, right?
It's
And
hard, like, because you don't know the reason. Like, I mean, I will say for the last 2 years, I felt like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? Because it's literally felt like I would get through a patch and then it would be like, and
yeah,
something would go, like all these Saturn squares, all
yep,
this Uranus opposition, all of these things that I had to deal with this year. I'm like, oh my gosh, where are the blessings? Like,
yeah.
when do I get the gift for this hard work?
And I don't think you're alone in that. We're all experiencing that in our own way, but we feel sometimes like we're alone in it in the moment.
Yeah.
That's why it's so great to have connections, community,
It's critical.
resources.
I don't know. I actually feel like those who don't have a support system, whether you're paying for it or whether you can get it from somewhere else,
Yeah.
and not people, not your friends, because I feel like sometimes your friends
Yes.
don't quite get it. If you're watching this, I can tell you straight up right now, probably your friends don't get it. You're the friend they call to ask, what's happening right now? And like you need a place to feel plugged in. You need a
Yeah.
place to be embraced so that like when you're feeling wobbly and uncertain and unsure of yourself, like this too shall
Yeah.
pass.
Like you can say, yes, you're in it right now. Feel it all.
You can
Be
see
there
it when
now.
you can
And
see it in your charts, like it's
you
magic.
can. Yep. And that's another thing you can't do with all your friends. Like this is happening, and knowing this is happening in your chart,
Yeah.
and that you can go, okay, I can point a finger to the energies. Now, how am I going to work with them? I have this awareness. How can I change what I'm thinking, bring it into how I'm feeling, and change that, and then shift what I'm attracting, what's happening, right?
I
And
mean, it's frequency. We forget how powerful we are. Like we forget how powerful we are to create something different. We get so stuck
yeah,
in what it is that it's hard to see what it could be. So,
yes,
this is one of the things this year that I was like, how can I? Because like we moved to a remote island in the middle of nowhere with like a lot of things that I was like, OMG, I don't know how I will survive. But I was like, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. And like, it has been my mantra. Like, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. And literally, I'm making it here. But this
yep.
was a conscious choice that I said, like,
That she resisted even trying for a
oh,
while.
straight up 2 years. Yeah. Yep. 2 years. Well, it's like not even that. It was like a year and a half for sure. But
Yeah.
it was because I was going through so many different energetic changes and upgrades and removals, and like my nervous system felt like it was short circuiting for
Mhm.
most of that time, and I felt sick, physically sick. I'm like, what's happening to me? Like, this is not normal. I'm sick, like something is weird. And
Yes.
I couldn't I had such a hard time changing. Like, it was like no matter what I thought, it was like it wasn't enough, because
Yeah.
I was so deep in the shit of it, the feelings of it. I
Yeah.
just couldn't really, I don't know. I was like, so I couldn't release it.
I know you're not alone in that. I know that one of my moms in my group had posted a question about, I'm feeling all this stuff in my liver and in my body, like not feeling well, like what it's going on, and post her chart. And it's so true. We're having physical manifestations in our bodies of these changes
Yeah.
happening too. I mean, we've been talking about this for 2 years, like the lightheadedness and like the frequency shifting. And you're like, do I have vertigo now? Like what's happening? These
I literally,
downloads
yes,
happening.
yes,
So I
yes. I
think
mean,
that
all of
these
it.
are all products of this craziness, right?
But if you don't know it, you trot yourself off to the doctor thinking like you've lost your mind or you're having a heart attack, which I literally thought I was having a heart attack and trotted myself off to the ER because I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I think, now we can all take a little bit of a breath, like even just that little bit of Venus and Mercury was like, okay,
oh
maybe
yeah,
we're getting closer.
I know. And I know a lot of people are still in it, still getting those last waves, still coming out of that shadow work. We do have another, few days there before we move into Sag season officially, but it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. I do feel more hopeful. I do feel more energized, and I am much more conscious of where my head is at and where I allow it to go, and in stopping myself, right? So
And
I
you can't force yourself to get there. Like this is the other piece. Like we think, oh, I should be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And while that may be true for some people, no one can force you, or we can only encourage you enough that at some point it sticks. But like it's something that when sometimes the switch just gets flipped and you're like, oh, okay, that was easy. Why did that take me so long? It's just sometimes it takes way longer, and we shouldn't feel guilty that it takes us longer than we think it should to get where we want to be going. It's the same with success, some financial success and all the things. Sometimes like, you're on the trajectory to get there. But it just takes time. And like, we'd laugh about this all the time. I got this deck of cards. It's my favorite deck of cards. And if I could burn any two cards in the deck, it would be the patience card and the timing card. But I know that would probably be in bad taste, or something would go really wrong in my life. So I have yet to set them on fire.
Well, aren't those the ones then that are the most important for you?
Right.
Yep.
Timing and patience.
Yep. That's so funny. And those are huge for Sag. Like Sag is not a patient energy. Timing, hello, can I get it now, please? Right.
It's like you say this all the time too. We're not just our sun sign, right? And we have to we're growing into that sun. So I feel like there are other elements that we're working through, that help us get to the place.
Absolutely.
So I'm a Sag sun, but I'm so not there yet.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that's the biggest thing. We are journeying toward our sun. That is our becoming. So there's definitely essences of that personality through our entire lives from birth, but ultimately it's like moving into that. The whole process and journey is really owning who we are, really stepping into our power, into our light, into our, our highest calling, whatever that is. And the rest of the chart shows us the way. The rest of and all the things that kind of are there to help us grow and evolve in getting there, not to hold us back or block us or bring us down, but to like the things we're here to actually learn to make that really the most bright and beautiful future you can create by stepping in your sun. But it's a journey all the way. It's like, it's not a destination. So it's never ending, right? And we're always stepping into ourselves more and more all the time, And
I think like the beauty of this season, the beauty of this moment in this Sag season specifically, as the visionary, as the creating a new opportunity for yourself.
Yep.
It is an excellent time, especially like with that Mercury and Venus so close together, to think about, okay, well, what is my future vision in my femininity? Like, where am I overgiving? Where am I overextending? Where am I overspending?
Yep.
And where can I honor my money, myself, my relationships, like how I'm in relationship. And magnetizing is Venus. So when we talk about this mindset, we want to work with her in Sag season to say like, okay, how can I recalibrate? If I'm looking around my place and I'm like, ooh, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. How can I change, first of all, the potentials, like, well, what else could be possible so that I can be in the feelings of more of that potential and excitement instead of seeing what I see and being mad about it. And it's creating all kinds of feelings. And that's just giving me more of that. If I could be more possible, even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, however long you can hold the vision, you can feel the feelings, and it calibrates the opportunities, the people, and the experiences like this. It can just happen so quickly.
That's what I had written, like expanding the vision quest, right? Like definitely fast. And it can happen lightning fast too.
fast. It's like we thought the eclipses were going to create some fast change, and they did.
And they
But
did.
like I feel like Sag season is an opportunity to like completely rewrite the story of your life. Like I literally just feel like that's what we're being gifted with. And
Absolutely.
we are being gifted. Like I feel like Jupiter is finally like, okay, you've made it.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Jupiter is the great benefic, right? It is the giver, blessings, good fortune, goodwill, and it's gifts. I mean, I've had it's also mutable, right? So we have to be flexible and know and ride the waves and what comes. I mean, this week has been so crazy with changing of schedules and things, and this didn't work. Wait, yes, it is working. Oh, wow. So but you ride the wave and it's all exciting and fun if you can stay in that vibe and like, no, right? And stay in that potential. But if not, like, if that is tough for you, then you're going to resist it, or you're going to spin out or burn out, or you know what I mean? End up
It's just going to feel so hard. And like,
yes.
life doesn't need to feel as hard as we make it. But it's like, I don't think, it's when you're able to be more open about how exciting it could be, and you're going to let yourself, especially like if you've had a lot of trauma in your life and you've had a lot of sorrow and sadness, it's like you get stuck in the deserving piece of that. But the truth is, you can change. You don't deserve that. Like you deserve all the happiness, all the buoyancy, all the lightness, all the easy that could come to you. And you don't need to deserve it. It's just there for you.
And I think Venus has to remind us we have choice.
Oh, like I literally had to change so much about the way I was thinking, because I was like thinking like, oh my God, you brought this on, like you
Yes.
decided to do, and all the things that went with that. And I know I'm not alone in that.
Yeah,
So like anybody who needs to hear that,
yeah.
you can change
So
that.
let's talk about the new moon, right? So
Yes.
we have a new
Yes.
moon in Sagittarius, November 23rd. It's at 2 degrees Sag at 2:27 a.m. Pacific time. So it'll be like as the sun's coming up over on the East Coast there by you.
Yep.
But the really big thing about this being a Jupiter ruled new moon is that Jupiter is stationing. Now Jupiter's already, pretty much at a standstill already, and it's stationing, it will station direct on that day, but then it takes a little bit also more time to get moving again. So there's this pause in a way. It's like this holding this beautiful space or portal for that vision, for light, for that, like you said, the candle will be lit, the way will start to be able to be seen, the vision can be built, the way forward, it's hopeful. And Jupiter is exalted in Pisces. So it is about also trusting that you're being held and guided, that the forces that be are there to support us. If we can dream it, we can believe it, we can believe in ourselves, it is possible. But we can get lost in the feeling that it's never going to happen, that it is impossible, that there's all these doubts, right? Because that's the shadow side of Pisces, is doubtful and uncertainty, leaving us in fearful ness, and uncertainty feels like death sometimes, right?
Disillusionment. Hey, there's a lot of disillusionment
yes.
in Pisces, like that I find very hard to handle.
It is, and surrender is the key word, right? And it's really difficult to surrender. So it's like, have this vision for your life, like you said, explore the possibilities, take this opportunity to rewrite the future for yourself and make a different choice, think a different thought, with Jupiter and with Mercury and Venus conjunct in Sag for that. And then trust that the universe will provide in whatever way it is supposed to. And we always say for our highest good, like this or something else, right? Whenever we write our wishes, our new moon wishes, it's always, I intend this or want this or something higher or better for me, right? So that's the Jupiter saying, I trust, right? I'm going to put out the intention I want, but I'm going to trust that what is supposed to be now will be, or the timing will, play out the way it's supposed to. And that's tough. That's a tough
and
thing to have
here's
faith.
my question for you.
Okay.
With that new moon in Sag, right? Is this the ending of like a Sag year, would you say? Is it like kind of completing like a Sag year?
Yes, the Sag new moon initiates a new cycle of Sag. And that's why it's your solar return month. Yes. So it's a new cycle of Sagittarius, a new year. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's the birth of Sagittarius, right? Season every year at the new moon in Sag. It is the birth of Sag energy, right? And that's what kind of like, that's it. What's interesting about it is that it's the end of the calendar year in a way, but it's like this, birth for you. So it's, again, it's closing out, thinking about what the year's brought and what is the vision for the future, the next year. And we move into Capricorn season after that. And that's like the vision. Okay, now how do we bring it into practical use or value? What do we do? Now that we have the vision, what are the steps for getting there? What's the plan? What's the action plan, right? And then on December 6th, Mercury is going to move into Capricorn and kind of lead the way into Capricorn season. So it's like, okay, we're having these thoughts and these visions now with it in Sag. And then it's like, okay, how can I organize this thinking and this planning in order to make a plan of attack to make those steps to manifest that dream? So it's so great to dream, but we have to have a plan to get there, or it's just a dream. Isn't there? That's a saying, I believe, like a quote, right? If there's no plan, it's just a dream.
Yes, you always have to put some feet on those dreams.
You have to put some feet on those dreams. And that's what Mercury and Capricorn is going to come in to do on December 6th. And just after that, December 7th is our full moon in Gemini, right? So that's at Mercury ruled. So Mercury's now at that point in Capricorn, right? So this is a time to ground and manifest, and create plans for those ideas and those visions for the way forward. And this is the end of the year. It's our planning and reevaluating and assessing what worked, what didn't, what the value of this new plan is, these visions you've created, and you're on this roll for you particular, like on this roll, like how does that roll into the new year in the future, right? So it's time to do that. And the really interesting thing about that full moon is that Mars retrograde will be conjunct that moon. So we know that Mars is retrograde in Gemini until January, right? And conjunct that moon. So this could also be a time for some people where it is really about slowing down and what you were saying, taking that time to, okay, what direction do I really want to go in? Like, am I running full speed in the wrong direction? Or am I, the ideas I have, are there too many? It's like having all those irons in the fire and you're spinning out or anxious, or are you stuck? You know what I mean? So this is going to manifest differently for everybody. And I had somebody ask me, is Mars retrograde in Gemini almost like a Mercury retrograde? And I was like, yes, it's like a Mercury retrograde on steroids. Because there's a lot of evaluating as we're moving through it, just like we were saying, being flexible and going, hey, this plan could change at any second. But if I keep going and I have my eye on the prize and the vision, we'll still get there. There's going to be windy roads and turns and changes perhaps, but trusting that those things are still helping us get where we want to go if we're keeping our energy and our goals in mind and our eye on the prize. But most of the time, if we hit a roadblock or something doesn't go our way, you can think, oh, it's never going to work, right? This is never going to happen for me. Or why did I bother, and give up, So I think that at that full moon, it's a chance to go, okay, like, let me stop, let me tune in, and don't forget it's out of bounds, right? So this is where we can get really easily upset and frustrated if people aren't really hearing us, or we're not really being able to get where we want to go, or manifesting and getting the results from things that we're maybe putting out there. So for some people, it's not necessarily a time to go full steam ahead. It's time to create in here, right? And in here, and do the back scene, do the work behind the scenes to build the structure as we move through Capricorn, that's going to then carry you through, sustain your success, sustain your finances. You want to build multiple streams of revenue, you have to have multiple structures that are going to, keep you all on track, right? So if you're like, okay, this one I know what I'm doing, this one I'm clear about what I'm doing. So you can have a lot of visions, but you need to still have a plan of attack for each one of those. So I feel like that full moon in Gemini is going to really bring those ideas and visions into full view, and also remind us, hey, you need to have a plan of action if you're going to reach that goal. So assessing what what that is, what that's going to be for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll finish up, but thanks for, adding your Sagittarius energy to my monthly musings.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me. I love listening to these. They're always so insightful and inspiring. And I know your community absolutely loves them, and all the work you put in and the time you put in to like make it so thoughtful and so
Thanks,
awesome.
babe. Hey, this is Sag season. You got to go. You got somewhere to be and things to do. So go do your thing, my Sag girl, and
Thanks,
we'll
girl.
talk soon. Thanks for being here.
Hey, honey.
Bye. That's my girl. She's busy, so she has to go. And let me just close out our Sag musings. So on December 9th, Venus will move into Capricorn. And this is going to bring a lot of benefits to our work and our finances. So if we've created the vision, made the plan, started taking some steps, or at least sort of getting the groundwork, going, really getting clear in our mindset, in our energy, and in our choices and our goals and the future, starting to put some of those pieces into place, then Venus is going to come in and say, okay, like now let me help provide some resources, some support, and the blessings can start rolling in, right? The benefits of the hard work can start showing themselves as we move into Capricorn. But do remember, at the end of the year, we will have a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So there'll be a chance to reevaluate the plan then, and also maybe finances or things that we need to adjust in order to really build that sustainable program or sustainable structure for the long-term success of your dream. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. Mars will still be retrograde all month. Okay, so keeping us busy for sure behind the scenes, but also can slow us down in some respects and speed us up in others. So it's really important to stop and breathe, to be careful we're not rushing too quickly or spinning out. So this is fire and air. So we definitely want to enjoy and take advantage of the energy and do what's really calling to us, but also be sure to slow down, breathe, and take those breaks in those moments to ensure that our heads are on straight, that we are thinking clearly as possible, that we are sort of taking in all the information needed in order to make an educated decision about the way forward, or being realistic about the goal and the plan in terms and the timing of it, even, right, as we move into Capricorn season. So Sag planets will have Mercury, Venus, Sun will all also be moving through sextiles with Saturn in Aquarius this month. This is great for helping us structure those beautiful plans for our vision for the future. So it's awesome. It's a time to evaluate and discern, what's working as we move into Capricorn season, and Mercury's going to lead that way. So Mercury's already going to be ahead of the game, going, okay, like I love these visions, I love these ideas, but how can I make them work? What things can I put into place to really ensure long-term success? Make sure that you are aligned in mind, heart, and willing to make the changes or take the risks necessary to make it all happen, right? To create the life you want, to build the kind of future you want. I feel like Sagittarius is, such an inspirational time. It's also a time of, gathering with friends and family and celebrating. It's a time to celebrate what we've created so far, what we've learned so far, how much we've done already in a year, and also what has left, honoring what we've chosen to let go of or change in order to step into this next level of our life. Honoring all of that, celebrating where you are now, and then looking to the future and what's really possible. And the potentials are there. And the more we zoom out and try to take that Sagittarius big picture vision for our lives, we'll be able to see the good, the beauty, the positive things that you have done, and then the clear skies of possibility for the future. And recognizing, okay, I have this is good. I really need to work on that. But wow, I've come a long way, and I can be proud of that. And I can look within myself and start believing more in who I am and what's possible for me. And Sagittarius is about our beliefs. And self-belief is like the number one motivator for really finding success, creating success, and having the life that we want. It's a freedom loving sign too. So you want the freedom to live your life the way that you want to live it and believe what you want to believe. But what is that? What do you believe? And how do you want to live your life? These are choices. And Venus moving through Sag says you have big choices to make, and they can make all the difference in your future. What choices you make, how you choose to view your life, the possibilities of your life, the relationships you're in, the world you want to live in, your impact on the world, the environment. So there's so many possibilities. And that's another key great word for Sagittarius is possibilities. So think about right now what is possible and lean into the vision and the hope for what is possible. And then allow this next season to be a time of self-reflection and inspiration and dreaming of those possibilities, so that when you hit the ground in 2023, you've grounded those ideas, those passions, those ideas and inspiration for your life in a real way that can allow you to have long-term real success in your life. But ultimately, have a great time this month. It is a really nice, uplifting energy after a very tough year, another tough year. But I do feel like the light is there. The skies are opening up, and the possibilities for the future are bright. There are still some dark clouds, but there is hope. And it's a very hopeful sign. So I feel very hopeful. Maybe I'm living in La La Land, but it's a nice place to be right now and a nice change. So thank you for listening. Thanks for entertaining me having a guest today. Tara Kinden is amazing, and you can definitely follow her on social media or check out her website, tarakinden.com, for more of her offerings. She is a wonderful soul sister and a beautiful Sagittarius. So I wish her and all of you a beautiful Sag season. Happy birthday to all my Sagittarius friends out there, and happy solar return. Blessings for a beautiful new year for you. And I'll see you guys all on the next one. Thanks for listening, and I hope you gained some great astrology insight and inspiration from today's show. I'd love to hear, so drop me a comment or share in a review. Check out the show notes for all the details and links about today's episode, how you can connect with me on social or work with me directly. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Oh, and for my moms out there, be sure to join my private Conscious Parenting with Astrology Moms group on Facebook. Come join a growing community of like-minded mamas supporting each other in the hardest job in the world with the help of astrology. Hope to see you over there. Take care and keep nurturing the nature, friends. I'll see you on the next episode.